What is the scene from, you guys?
It's from a play called 4,000 Miles.
Okay. All right. And so Augie is at her boyfriend's grandmother's house waiting for him to show up. And there's tension between she and her boyfriend. And they're in like this awkward conversation. And again, as I recall, you said, Stacy, before that you've been married. Your character's been married like twice. And is she married?
I have no like blood children. This grandchild's my second husband's son with a wife. Yeah.
But you're no longer married with anybody now, right?
No, I'm recently widowed.
You're widowed. Okay.
Yeah.
And is that the third husband who died?
Second.
So the one who died is the father of the boy.
The grandfather of, yes, this boy.
The grandfather of the boy that she's dating.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Okay. Turn off my camera here. Okay. So just sort of take a moment, think a little bit about what's happened before the scene starts. It's kind of awkward, a little weird. Think about where you're coming from and last time you guys saw each other. Here we go. Ready? Action.
He was a cheater and a drunk, but I liked him till the day he died.
I'm not sure what you're trying to tell me.
What?
Well, I don't know what you want me to. Well, I mean, why are you telling me this?
I'm just trying to make conversation. I'm not getting much help from you.
You're going on and on about these like parables of forgiveness and tolerance, but you should have left him.
I did. Eventually.
You put up with, you tell these stories like you're proud.
Okay.
When they pushed out of a cab, you should have pushed him out of a cab. She was coming to you for understanding.
Ooh. I see I've struck a nerve.
I'm not gonna forgive you.
All right. Okay.
I'm sorry. I've just been really. Oh, I can't believe he's fucking late.
Listen. I am not trying to tell you to forgive him or not forgive him. I don't know what you should do. That is your affair. I am just trying to tell you that men sometimes can do stupid things, but they are not trying to be malicious. They're just stupid and childish.
Yes. I don't really make those kinds of allowances based on gender. I wouldn't want anyone to do that for me.
So I suppose you think I'm very backward.
No.
Scene.
All right. Oh, that was awkward. This is so uncomfortable for both of you, which is a good thing, you know? So, yeah, I think it's on the right track. I really do. I think it's really close. So let me just sort of look at your character, Stacy. So what's going on with you in this scene? What is this about for you?
So again, I really think that for me, it's my love for my grandson. I still don't have a decision on what I think of Beck. I don't know if I like her or not like her, but I know that he really likes her. And
what would make you not like her?
just because I haven't really met her yet. I just
I
have
thought
my
you
own.
said you've seen her at reunions. They've been going on for 2 years. I mean,
I
she's
don't like know her. Do you know what I mean? I don't know her to form that type of an opinion, but I know how important he is, so that I want her to
want him
get
to
the
be.
benefit of the doubt for sure.
So, and also, he's been kind of like, on the road, a little bit unpredictable and random, and she's kind of hung in there, right?
Right, right. So
So
those are the good things that I for sure like about her.
what wouldn't you like about her? What has she done that has made you not like her?
She has just a little bit more attitude, but probably attitude. So there's attitude that she does have that probably I also had when I was that age too. So I don't know. There's just this like decision I haven't quite confirmed that I really, really like. And plus, when you're wanting for your grandson, you're expecting like the best, right? You want like all of the very best things. So she's got a lot of good things, but there's always more that you want for your favorite grandson.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't have grandchildren, so I wouldn't know, but like, I would say if anybody's kind of the fuck up, it's your grandson.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, so, if anything, it seems like, this girl is kind of a gift, from an outside perspective. I mean, he's the one who's been like living like on a whim.
Right.
And if you notice, like in the scene, like it seems like it's kind of all about getting her to give him another chance.
Right.
Kind of like imply like, men can be childish, but like they don't mean to be malicious. And, in other words, my grandson's a good guy, just be patient and he'll come around, and he's a good man, or whatever. It doesn't seem to me like from so far, like from what I have seen, it doesn't feel to me like there's anything that she's done that has been any reason for you to be anything other than hopeful that she will like give him another chance, because he's late. He's like living on a bike. He barely calls. Like, this girl is like a heroine for him, so I don't know. You tell me, unless I'm missing something. I'm not sure what it is that she has done that would make you feel. I can understand how you'd only want like, the best for my grandson, but your grandson's been kind of a dope from what you're telling me, unless I'm missing something.
Right. Well, I guess it's just, I'm just going off of just a couple of the lines that she's had. Again, remember I told you that she had lines about her making comment about her weight to her grandson, and
her what?
Her weight. And just, there's just comments that I think that she has made prior in the play that's why I have that impression.
What comments again?
Just certain comments that she's made to the grandson about her weight, about her size.
Hang on a second.
She called her like the chubby one.
I'm sorry, refresh my memory about the chubby one.
She she calls me like, oh yeah, I remember her, the chubby one.
Oh, you say that about Augie.
Mm-hmm.
But it was my same. I have the same interpretation as Stacy, that she was kind of like standoffish about this girl and her attitude and like kind of that stuff. But I'm thinking about everything objectively that I've like read in the script and like all this, and I'm like, you could just be an old lady who like loves me but talks like that, and is like, oh yeah, like, because my grandma would do that. My grandma would be like, oh yeah, the chubby one, and they'd be like, she's a professional athlete, like what? It's okay, she's cute, she kind of looks like a baby, but she's very cute.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, you obviously you kind of need to make a choice there, Stacy. And by the way, I never see you as old. Okay, so I used to.
No, just in the script.
I know, I'm just teasing.
She's much older than Stacy.
But yeah, so I'm just saying, like, you got to make it. Like, you got to make a choice here, Stacy. Is this girl that you're talking to a good candidate for your grandson or not? And are you hoping that she'll hang around, or are you hoping that she'll bail? What do you think?
Well, I'm hoping that she hangs around.
So if you're hoping she hangs around, then it seems like a lot of this scene is about wanting what's best for my family and my grandson to have a good life, right? And wouldn't that include a patient, girlfriend, a patient wife, a patient? So it seems like, she's kind of come in here, and you can kind of read from her body language that she's not very happy about the way she's been treated. And it seems like, maybe you kind of understand where she's coming from because of some of the men you've dealt with. And maybe, you've heard the stories about how he hasn't called and he hasn't been around. And it's sort of like, that's what grandma is doing. She's trying to kind of like heal the wound here, and fix it, and maybe that's kind of how you see yourself, as somebody sort of coming in to kind of save the day here. Before my grandson arrives, maybe I can, butter her up a little bit to kind of like, calm the storm so that she forgives him a little bit, rather than having more of a tone of like, you're not good enough to be with my grandson. And that may also set this up in a way like, Augie, it might make it even more difficult for you, because am I being like manipulated here? Am I being played? Like, why are you like setting him up this way when you and I both know that he hasn't been around? He's been like freaking like living on a whim, like a freaking feather in the wind blowing around. Like, what am I supposed to do? Like, and you're coming in here saying, men can be like boys and you should just forgive them. And my old boyfriend, what do you say? My old one was a cheat and a drunk or something. Isn't that what you say? Something like that? What do you say?
He was a cheater and a drunk, right? Mm-hmm.
He was a cheater and a drunk. Isn't that your line?
Mm-hmm.
So what are you saying to Augie? He was a cheater and a drunk and you should forgive him. so, from your perspective, Augie, that kind of sets it up in a way like, well, what exactly are you saying? That if he cheats and he's a drunk, that I should be okay with this?
Yeah.
So that might be also kind of fun for you to play with, Augie. Like, what exactly are you saying?
Yeah.
Is there something about, what's his name? What's the boyfriend's name?
Leo.
There's something about Leo that I don't know. I'm saying from your perspective, Augie, like, why is she even bringing up that?
Mm-hmm.
My husband was a cheater, a heroin addict, a drunk, and he used to like,
how this has anything to do with
he used to beat children. He was cruel to people and mean and arrogant and pompous, and I forgave him. Mm-hmm. And you really should think about that when you're upset at Leo, because he's a good guy. And think about all these seeds you just kind of planted and threw it at Augie. Like, Augie didn't, I assume, Augie, you never saw him as a cheater or a drunk. Well, what the hell is she saying then? Why are you even bringing that up? Like, what kind of help are you providing, really, Stacey?
Well, I mean, it's, again, that's just a line after a pretty big monologue that she's had. So I'm just telling about my first husband, all the different things he did.
I see. Like, he did a lot of bad things.
Yeah, a lot. There's like a whole bunch. That's just the last line of it.
So so you're kind of saying like, he did all these really bad things. My grandson has done nothing.
Exactly.
Compared to that. So you should forgive him. Is that the idea?
Yeah.
Were you going to say something, Augie?
Well, yeah, I was thinking about that a lot, like what she means. And I, because I think my character is thinking about that. Like, what do you mean? Are you saying, well, if I could forgive those things, you can forgive these things that aren't really that bad. But I think there's also something in there about that maybe she's giving me permission to feel the things that I'm feeling, or at least
acknowledging them, like, hey, it's okay, I understand that you would be upset about these things like I was upset. And
also she's like a really fiery woman, and she's really like headstrong for what she believes in, and I'm that way too. And I think like I have these built up you know, like strict kind of moral codes of like, this is what a strong woman is, like, this is what you don't put up with, you know? And then here I am in this situation where I'm like, this is unforgivable. This is not something I'm going to put up with, because that's not like a strong woman. And like, this is not like a healthy relationship. But then I'm like, I love him and I still like really like him. And I think like, I don't think I can forgive him, because that's like not the right thing to do to me. But I wonder if she sees that and is kind of giving me permission and going, hey, look, the world's not like perfect. Like sometimes we love people who hurt us, and we can try to work it out, because maybe, you know, he is a good person for you, even if it's something that's not perfect.
And I mean, if Stacy is kind of this fiery personality and you're a fiery personality, well, then maybe Stacy sees that as well, and kind of goes, look, I'm like you. I am fiery. I'm like a firecracker too. And I learned to forgive. And maybe from your perspective, well, she forgave, maybe I can too.
Right.
Maybe that's kind of like where you're coming from. Would that work for you as well?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I do have a question, because you mentioned this with Chris. So this character reminds me a lot of my mom that's no longer here. And she actually she used to call my daughter-in-law, because her name was Ashley, she would call her trash can. And again, but that was out of love.
Okay.
She would say, oh, there's Ash Can, or yeah, she'd call her Ash Can. Ash Can is what she would call her. So I was thinking a lot that this character was a lot like my mom, but you had mentioned to Chris, so my mom was extremely sarcastic.
Yeah.
In her showing of love to people. And you had mentioned to Chris that that's not like, if your character's like that, you shouldn't do that. You were mentioning something about when you're coming up with them, that you should make your character like noble and optimistic.
No, I'm saying you want to make choices as far as what your path is, like your goals in life. So for you, your goal in life, I'm not saying that you can't be sarcastic. You might be sarcastic in a way to help somebody.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay.
There's a difference. I'm not saying don't be, yeah, that's it's, I'm talking specifically about the scene. I'm saying this is a scene about a grandmother who's trying to do what's best for her family, her grandson, and have a fulfilling life for her family.
Okay, got it.
And you know, your way of going about it is by calling her trash can.
Okay.
So I don't see it, but I would have, if your mother was alive, I'd probably have a talk with her about that myself personally, because I'm saying like, but from her perspective, maybe it was a tough love type thing. Maybe it was the way she talked, chubby, trash can, whatever, you know, but I'm just saying like, it still can come from a place of, from your perspective, you're not judging yourself. You're saying, I'm doing this from a good place. You know, as you say, you know, my husband was a cheater and he used to beat me. And let me tell you something, I loved every minute of it. And we're going, I think you need some therapy. Okay. But hey, you know, that's kind of like your perspective. I was doing it because I wanted to have a good marriage.
Got it.
Then the audience on their own makes their own judgment about whether you're healthy or not, or whether you're sick or a victim or whatever. You just don't judge it yourself. Does that give you clarity?
Yeah.
Did you have a question, Augie?
No, I was just like thinking about, I've been thinking a lot about this, the meanest, the like quote unquote meanest sounding things I would say would only be to my best friends, like joking.
Yeah.
And you were talking about this, like that she calls her trash can. My two best friends in the world call me Soggy instead of Augie, or Uggy, like ugly, Uggy.
Yeah.
Hey, Uggy, like every day. That's just
but that's like, I mean, that's like best friends, you know?
Right, best friends. But there's like things that like I think I'm more polite, even if I'm madder, being more mean, like to people that I don't know as well, right? You know, and I just kind of wonder, it was not my first, you know, take on this scene, but like, I wonder what this scene would look like if we were like, okay, we have chatted, I've talked to you before, and like, you're someone I've come to, and then like, but this is the first time you've told me these stories. You know, if like we did have more rapport, right? Because I was seeing this scene as like super awkward.
I think your take on it is right though.
Mhm.
I like the way you're playing it. I mean, I like the awkward nature of it. I like the fact that you don't know each other that well, that it's like almost like you're two people who kind of know each other standing in an elevator.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
nobody knows who's going to talk first. But, you know, it's not the relationship that we've seen each other, you know, 6 times a year on every holiday.
Mhm.
It is the fun of the scene to me is the fact that you're in this uncomfortable place, kind of not really knowing like, why is she telling me all these things? And wow, that's really personal stuff. Like,
I think what gets me about this is like the, you know, I know obviously like I don't need to listen to like the directions of the script or like the annotations or whatever, but like it has like exclamation points here.
Don't
like
worry about it.
It says
Just
like
cross
trying
it
to
out.
control. It says I yell, and I'm like, I would never yell in this
Don't
situation.
do that. Just cross it out.
I know, and I do, but I was thinking like, if that was true, what would that make the scene? Okay, yeah. Anyway, no,
I mean, it doesn't matter because I mean, that was the person who was typing.
Right, I know.
A, and B, it may have been that they did it and that was how they did it in the play. And that's the job of the person who types, is to do it the way they do it on the very first production. That's kind of like Samuel French is the company frequently. Like I think there are like playwright laws that they have to actually put certain things in like that, like the direction of the very first production of the play.
So
That doesn't mean that you have to do it that. It doesn't mean it's the best way to do it either. So there's an infinite number of ways. So I would just say cross it out and do your own version.
Yeah, and that's what I was doing from the very beginning. I was just all this talk was just making me think, okay, well, what if it was completely opposite? Basically?
I mean, it could be, but basing on what you've told me, I like the take.
Okay.
I mean, I feel like it would be weird if you were screaming.
No, I think so too.
You know, and maybe if they were screaming in the play, it was terrible. It was a bad version of the play. Maybe it bombed. Who knows? You know, or maybe it didn't. Maybe they did their version and it worked, depending on the casting type, you know, and what that person looked like and what the mom or the grandmother looked like. And you know, there's so many different variables here, but you got to just do your own version. And this is why it's like when you're memorizing your lines, get rid of all of the punctuation, get rid of the periods, get rid of the commas, get rid of the exclamation points, and just do your own. Yeah. So, yeah, you never want to allow that to dictate your acting. So I like the discomfort. You know, I think there should be awkward silences here where nobody's talking. I mean, one of my favorite moments was at the end where you were just kind of both sitting there, you know, and I think you both kind of like looked like, when is he coming? Please show up, you know, like whatever his name, Leo, is that his name? Leo, yeah. Please come save us. Like, it was like, when is he going to arrive? And that was kind of like the vibe that I thought was a good one. So, and it was so weird watching you, Augie, just sit there in this home of like grandma's home, and you just looked so small.
I gotta say, being uncomfortable is my favorite thing to play.
Yeah, but you play it really well, and it's to me, it's just so honest, like, because when I think of like my grandma and when they were alive, like grandma's house was always like the safe, fun, like warm place. But like here, it was so not. Like, it just said so much that you were just like there was just no way that my grandma would have been like you were in this scene, Stacy. Like, my grandma would have been like loving and nurturing and sweet and warm, but your character in this scene she just kind of lets her do her thing and observes. I felt like you were her analyst. You know, just kind of like studying her, like her shrink, you know, and it works, I'm saying. And watching you kind of like just be there, Augie, like, well, who's going to talk first? Like, it was to me, that was the story. And it was, I like where you guys are headed with it. So I wouldn't mess with it too much.
Okay, great.
If I was gonna, go spend another hour of work on this, like or more or whatever. I mean, what do you think I should add?
Flush things out more, add more layers, ask yourself more questions. All right. So what does this place look like? What does the house look like? If you have a clear idea, like, do I understand what's going on with me while I'm talking? Do I have a full understanding of what's going on with me while she's talking? What relatives have I met?
Right.
Did I ever meet the widow?
Mhm.
If you didn't, fine. Are there, like, what does the place smell like?
Mhm.
Every house has a certain scent. Does it have what is the word? A musk? Does it have like an old person's like home type smell, or does it smell sweet, or does it smell like chocolate chip cookies were baked, or who knows? But just like add all of these elements to the scene. Like, is it a sparse room? Is it an empty room? Is it filled with clutter? Is there stuff everywhere? Are there like little pictures and little emblems and little trinkets everywhere, Stacy? Or is it not? Like, is it really cold and sterile and like there's very few items? Is it very like old money, cold, what's the vibe? So
to me, this couch has plastic on it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's works for you. So if it has plastic on it,
and it has plastic on it.
I mean, that's awful. Like, that sounds just awful to me. Like, that's so terrible. Like, nothing worse than sitting on a fucking plastic covered couch to protect it from germs. I mean, if that's like the case, like,
she's like, well, it worked. I've had it for 50 years.
Yeah, I've had it for 50 years and it's still new, and I'm thinking, like, you don't even take the plastic off when I come here. Like, seriously, like, you leave it on. That's so cold, So anyway,
make the picture more crisp.
Whatever.
Make the story more rich. Got it.
And for you, from your perspective, Stacy, like, if you see her as a good catch for your grandson, what's a bad catch?
Okay.
What kinds of girls has he dated? And has he ever dated a boy? And, well, has he ever had a long-term relationship? And what happened to the last ones? And was he dumped? Did he dump her? What's going on with your head when she comes in here? Do you kind of like have a plan? Do you already know she's going to be upset when she shows up? Why not?
Well, I mean, I didn't even know she was going to show up. I had no idea she was going to show up.
So you just show up?
Yeah. I mean, I had no idea she was showing up.
Hang on. So I'm confused. So you had no idea? So she just knocks on your door?
Leo's gone.
Yeah, but Leo didn't say to you, hey, I'll be there. My girlfriend will be there. We're going to have coffee.
It's so awkward.
That is so weird.
I show up and I'm like,
how that's just so random. Like, how did you even know to be home? Like, you could have been anywhere.
Yeah, but I don't go a whole lot of places. So yeah.
Yeah, but you could be, again, so you have to make this choice. If you're making a choice that I had no idea that she was coming, that my grandson was coming, then you have to deal with all that too. Like, that adds a whole new fun dimension to like I needed to put my clothes, my makeup,
I would be like, I didn't maybe snack to offer you.
Like, also, like was the place clean? Was it not? Like, how's the house normally when you don't have guests over compared to when you do? Like, these are all fun things that you can bring to the scene.
Okay.
So you guys are on the right track though. Okay. All right, you guys, I gotta move on.
Thank you so much, Brad. I really appreciate it.
All right, so this is a scene from what, you guys?
It's from the play 4,000 Miles.
Uh-huh.
And Beck is my grandson's sort of like girlfriend for the last couple of years. And he's been gone this summer and he really didn't notify us. So we were a little bit worried about him and also angry at him at the same time. She has just shown up to my apartment. I didn't know she was coming. He is not there. And Beck is wanting to talk to Leo.
Okay. And he's kind of like been making mistakes, and you're kind of trying to be the supportive grandmother to kind of like, hey, it's okay. Guys make mistakes, you know. And Augie, what's going on with you in the scene?
Well, I'm feeling real.
What?
I'm feeling real uncomfortable because I've never really hung out with Vera, and I feel real angry at Leo for putting me in this situation. I feel like
what situation did Leo put you in that's bothering you?
Oh, he told me to meet him, but then he's not here.
Okay. And is there anything else that you're upset about?
Yeah, a lot of things. I'm upset at him for not coming to our best friend's funeral and not really kind of showing up when I need him.
Yeah, so he's also been kind of like traveling the country or something on his bike or something?
Yeah, he's been riding cross country on his bike and he just kind of disappears.
All right, and he kind of like pops in and expects you to be, be there when he calls, and you're kind of like, that's not the way it works. And so, but he does say, meet me here. Is your plan to break up with him today? Or you're thinking maybe, or you're not sure?
Yeah, I think so.
You think you might?
I'm trying to break up with him.
And your and his grandmother is kind of like picking up on something. All right, cool. Let me turn off my camera.
And she's been telling me all these stories of her past.
Of her past relationships and kind of explaining, how guys can make mistakes. Is that correct? Okay. All right. All right, you guys. Oh, you're so sweet with your comments. It's so nice of you. All right, so here we go. You guys ready? All right. Ready, and think a little bit about what's happened right before the scene started, okay? Where you're coming from. What were you talking about right before the scene started? How long have you been waiting? What is it like to be in the room with this person? And what does the room look like? What does it smell like? Is it nighttime? Is it daytime? Can you hear things outside? Birds chirping, cars driving, whatever. Where is your boyfriend? How long have you been waiting? And here we go. And action.
He was a cheater and drunk. I liked him till the day he died.
Not sure what you're trying to tell me.
What?
I don't know what you want me to. Why are you telling me this?
I was just trying to make conversation. I wasn't getting much help from you.
You're going on and on about these like parables of tolerance and forgiveness. You should have left him.
I did. Eventually.
You put up with. You tell these stories like you're proud.
Okay, listen. I'm not telling you this.
The woman who you tried to push out of a cab, you should have pushed him out of a cab. She was coming to you for understanding.
I see I've struck a nerve.
I'm not going to forgive him.
All right. All right.
I'm sorry. Been really it's fucking late.
Okay. Listen. I am not trying to tell you to forgive him. or not forgive him. I don't know what you should do. That's your affair. I'm just trying to tell you that men, you have to remember that men can do things that are stupid, not malicious. It wasn't malicious, just stupid and childish.
Yes, I don't make those kinds of allowances based on gender. I wouldn't want anyone to make those allowances for me.
So I suppose you think I'm very backward.
Scene.
Okay, guys, that was really good. You're done. That's really good. It's really natural and organic and awkward. Just awkward. Um, it looked like your the cup of coffee was like your like protective blanket. Like so when you were holding it, and you just looked like you could not wait, Augie, to get out of there as fast as possible. And I felt like you were trying really hard to like make it through this without being overtly like rude, Augie. Like you were just trying your best to be nice and as best as you can. And Stacey, I thought that you were trying to as best as you can, not invade your grandson's space, but at the same time be a really good grandmother and kind of help him the best that you can in the way that you can, and try to kind of like be that cool grandmother that can be there for her grandson. So and I also felt like you guys were really listening to each other nicely. I think that I think the scene is done. So I would say I just want you to continue, Stacey, on your end. When you're kind of starting to get back to where you were when we were working together more diligently, and we were focusing more on listening and trusting and reacting. So it feels to me like you're starting to get back on track a little bit more with that, okay, than when you first returned. So that's a good thing. I would say to you, keep being vigilant with that, and hyper aware of, okay, what does it feel like what I'm doing right now when I'm talking to Brad? Like, what is this experience of just listening and taking him in? And what is this like when I'm at home as Stacey? And just keep remembering that's what acting should feel like.
Okay.
And, just right there when you said, okay, and you had in the scene, you had some moments that were organic like that.
Right. Okay.
That's a good thing. That's a win. Okay. But I do want you to just know that there are some times that it's easy to slip out of gear a little bit and start performing, for a couple of little moments. And so, just keep working on that, because when you stay there, like you are with me now, it's so easy to connect with you and be there with you and relate to your plight. So, good job, you guys.
Okay, well, great. Thank you so much.
Thank
And
you.
it was
Yeah, you
so
gotta find
fun to do with. I felt like so like present and like I don't know. Today, Stacey was like drawing me in. So much.
yeah, I mean, I think find something else. But I think there's I don't know, like try being like a villain, Stacey.
Okay.
What was that movie? It was like
I Care a Lot.
I Care a Lot's great. I love that movie. That sounds perfect. You mean Between the Mom and have you seen the movie, Stacey?
I have not.
I love this movie.
But then I'm the villain, really.
You're the villain, yeah. But there's some great scenes between Diane Weiss, who's the mother of the hitman in this elderly person's home, that is put in there so Augie can steal the money, from you, and she doesn't really realize what she's dealing with. Like basically a mob family. And so
Oh,
it's a great film, you guys. If you haven't seen it, you should see it. So, but
okay.
if you could find a scene from that, I couldn't pick a better scene, Augie. So, and pick better characters to play for both of you.
Oh,
So,
fun. Oh, that sounds
there's
fun.
there's some great scenes there. There's one, where you first meet her, Augie, at the house. There's scenes where you're actually at the elderly person's home, where you have a conversation and you try to strangle her, Stacy. There's some great scenes. So find a scene. I would love to see it. That
Okay,
sounds
sounds
great.
good.
Thank you guys.
Thanks, Brad.
Way to go.
Thank you so much, Brad.
Yeah, thank you.